Hello everybody and welcome to your 10 Minutes of Eve. My name is Casuality, and if you like my format, please remember to leave a like, subscribe or comment below the video. Last time we talked about basic industry and manufacturing of items, and we will continue this today with research, which is another part of industry. Research means the improvement of blueprints which you require for manufacturing. There are two ways to improve your blueprint originals, and this is improving its material efficiency and its time efficiency. To show you this, I have an unresearched blueprint here in this station, and if I would do one job run of this antimatter charge S blueprint, I would need this amount of input materials and I would receive 100 antimatter charges. I can, as I showed last time, and it would take 3 minutes 22 seconds to do that. If we assume that I have a fully researched blueprint in material efficiency, you can see the numbers change over here. But not all of them. You need at least 1 unit of every material, so this will never change. It will always require 1 noxium per run. The pyrite only improves by 1 unit, and titanium by roughly 20 units. So you may think that's hardly worth the effort. However, you should note that this scales obviously with the number of runs. So not for the noxium, because as I said, you always need 1 unit, but with the rest, you can see that the differences multiply. And the same for time efficiency. It's simply quicker to build it. So for some people that's highly valuable, especially for those who really churn out stuff. For others it's not so important whether they wait for another hour or another day before their manufactured goods are ready for sale or for use. But this is about the principle. So increasing your material efficiency reduces your input costs, improving your time efficiency reduces job duration. Both these factors are also depending on the facility where you're in. As I have shown you last time with manufacturing, you can look for facilities who improve material and time efficiency research, if you hover over those, then you will also see the different bonuses that these structures will give you. Generally speaking, the engineering complexes will be best suited for this job, and the bigger the complex, the more or the higher the basic bonus is, even without additional rigs, which can also be installed to further improve the effectiveness of your research. As briefly mentioned at the start, you can only improve original blueprints. Blueprint copies are made from those originals, and they will always have the stats of the blueprint at the moment of copying. So if I would copy this blueprint, it would have no material efficiency, no time efficiency. If I would do the same with this fully researched blueprint, then the blueprint copy will also receive the bonuses. The main difference is that the copy has a limited life, which I can define here up to its maximum. So this blueprint copy here would allow me to produce 300 runs of iron charge M ammunition. The uses of blueprint copies we will discuss in a minute, but we should go back to the blueprints first, to the originals. So if I wanted to research time efficiency for this blueprint to the maximum, which is 10, then it would take me 1 day, 15 hours, cost me this amount of ISK, and I could now simply start that job run. Unfortunately, the duration is not the same for all, or not so low for all blueprints. This depends on several factors. Job duration is, material efficiency job duration is, as you can see, improved by installed rigs and the structural role bonus, so depending on the facility, but also by skills, in this case metallurgy and advanced industry, which is not available for alpha clones, but there is a possibility to improve the job duration. But job duration also heavily depends on the type of blueprint. As a rule of thumb, the more complex a blueprint is, and the bigger the result is, the longer it takes to research it. So ammunition blueprints are probably as simple as it gets, so they are the fastest to research. While, for example, to research this carrier to full, it would take me nearly more than 2 years for this character in this station, and this is not even possible to do. I would first have to research it to lower levels before I could then try to research the final levels, because such a long job duration will not be accepted by the system. As it says here, maximum run start time exceeded of 30 days. This is of course not entirely true, because even max skilled omegas at the best station available would need, I think, maybe half a year for the last level, for level 10 of research of this blueprint. So job duration in research varies quite a lot depending on the type of blueprint. And it is also interesting to see, however, that, for example, to build an Archon, you would need capital ship construction, advanced industries, blah blah blah, so quite a lot of skills, while researching it does not require any specific skill, and neither does copying. So even though you may not be able to actually build the item that the blueprint original refers to, you may be able to research it, maybe for another character who can build it, or for another use blueprint originals and copies have, and that is selling them on the market. So and there's another mechanic behind it. you can buy unresearched blueprint originals from the free market, and you should do so unless you are under heavy time pressure, because as you can see, most standard blueprints are seeded by NPCs, and usually there are quite a lot of them available, not too far away. And as you know, all orders which exceed 3 months must be from an NPC, because players can only put orders, buy or sell, for a maximum of 90 days. So these are NPC seeded orders, and they will have usually the cheapest price, and it's fixed price, no speculation included. While, for example, this Archon, it's an Armor carrier, it's not seeded in Caldari space, and therefore this is a player price, a player sell order. And if you were to travel to Mars space, you should be able to find the Archon blueprint original potentially. Unfortunately, EVE Marketer seems to be down at the moment. I would have loved to double check this, but yeah, it does not seem to work anymore. But there are maybe other marketing tools I have not bothered to look up, which would show you the price in other regions. Very well. So you can buy unresearched blueprint originals on the normal market, but researched blueprints can only be sold through contracts. And if you look that up, then you can see how many competition there is, what the prices potentially are, and from there you can calculate how much money you may make. So if I look at my unresearched blueprint original, I filter by originals only, and then I would see quite a lot of these, because antimatter charges are popular. And yeah, I could say, or I could assume, that I will be able to sell it for something between 3 and 4.5 million after full research. This blueprint costs 100k, as we have seen here, and researching it to 10 will cost me 15k. I will have to do the same for material efficiency, which is another 15k. So for 130k of investment and roughly 3 days of research time, I would potentially be able to sell it for 3 to 4.5 million, which is quite a nice profit. At least if you don't have anything else to do with your research slots, because most people tend to calculate how much ISK they earn per hour with this method. You could try to do that as well. Let's bring up the calculator. I hate that it's so small. But let's say we will be able to sell it roughly for 3 million ISK. 3 million ISK. Divide that by, did I say, roughly 3 days. So that's 72 hours. It would net me roughly 40,000 ISK per hour, which is less than many pro researchers aim for. But as I said, if you have nothing better to do, nothing better to research, then it would still net you a profit. So of course, like also in manufacturing, finding the right blueprints to research and sell is a little bit of work, a little bit of research, but it's not that difficult. As you can find blueprints in contracts quite easily. And as you can see, for some of the more valuable blueprints, or for a lot of blueprints, also the respective copies sell quite well. And this is also a reason why you may want to copy a fully researched blueprint, or in this case even a not completely researched blueprint. Because not all blueprints, or it does not make sense to fully research all blueprints. For example, with capital ships, this is the case, because as you can see, they consist of a lot of components, but many of them are required in small numbers, and if you improve material efficiency, you will see that nothing much changes, and from 9 to 10 only these two components change at all, and only by 1 unit. But you would, this one as well, but you would, as I said, you would have probably to invest another half a year to research your blueprint original, this one from 9 to 10, and therefore many people don't bother and just sell a blueprint copy with material efficiency 9, which is a very substantial time investment nevertheless. So this should cover research, basic research. So either you do it because you want to improve your material input for your own production, or you do it because you found blueprints or blueprint copies which are in high demand and want to make a profit by selling those blueprints. The latter method is, of course, much more viable for omegas because you have a lot more research slots, which alpha clones are barred from because of their skills. As you can see, you cannot learn laboratory operation or the advanced version of the skill, and therefore are stuck with one research job per alpha clone. But as an omega, you can have 11 research slots, which would allow quite a lot of research and making profit of it. And because you can sell blueprint and blueprint copies only via contracts, this is also a problem because an alpha clone only can have one contract up at any time unless it's meant for its own corporation. But selling blueprints to the market is seriously hampered by this skill restriction. So researching and selling blueprints is better done by omega clones, but your alphas can support your omegas, of course, in this routine. And my research character roughly does maybe around 100 million per month only by selling blueprint copies, and that's also because I'm not into those very valuable ones like structure copies, capital ships and capital ship construction parts, because I never had the patience to research those blueprints to the required efficiency levels. But be that as it may, it is a viable career branch, not path, but branch of the industry career path. And I hope I could shed some light on these mechanics, and would be happy to see you again when we talk about invention next time.